Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today we are doing a vocabulary lesson about the structure can afford something. So, if I can afford something, it means that I have enough money to buy it. Okay, so it's an expression about money. Having enough money. The form is subject followed by can afford followed by a noun or a noun phrase. So here is an example. This is a Ferrari. So a very expensive car. A Ferrari costs £100,000 and I have £200,000. Therefore, we can say I can afford a Ferrari. I can afford a Ferrari because I have enough money to buy it. Okay? So the Ferrari is not too expensive for me. I can afford a Ferrari. I have enough money. The negative form. So the opposite situation is if I do not have enough money to buy something, then we use the negative. And there are two possible negative forms. This is the full negative form. Subject followed by cannot afford. Notice this is all one word. Cannot. Cannot afford followed by the noun phrase. Or often in spoken English we use the contracted form. Subject followed by can't afford, followed by the noun phrase. So here we have used an apostrophe. So both of these are exactly the same. This is more common in spoken English. Okay? So, same example. The Ferrari costs £100,000. Okay, but this time I only have £900. Okay, so I don't have enough money to buy the Ferrari. So we say, I cannot afford a Ferrari. I cannot afford a Ferrari. And in the contracted form, I can't afford a Ferrari. Unfortunately. I wish I could. Okay, so this is very common when we are giving an excuse for something. When someone asks, why don't you buy it, or why don't you do something, a very common excuse is, well, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. So you'll hear that very often in spoken English. It's a common excuse for when you don't buy something, or when you don't go somewhere, or when you don't do something. No, I can't go. I can't afford it. Past tense. So, the past tense, the past form of can is could. So the structure becomes subject plus could afford, followed by the noun phrase. So this is for the past. Example. Last year, I could afford a holiday in New York. So we're talking about the past, last year, and we are saying that we had enough money for a holiday in New York. I could afford it. I could afford a holiday. It's the past. And let's look at an example of the past tense in the negative. So Mark is asking, why didn't you come to the restaurant last night? So David replies, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. So this is the past tense negative. Okay, and if we wanted to use the full form, we would say, I could not afford it. And again, you'll hear this very often when people give excuses or reasons why they don't buy something or why they don't do something. I couldn't afford it. And we also have a form of the subject plus can afford plus a verb in the infinitive form. So we can use can afford with the verb in the infinitive form to describe an activity for which we have enough money. So it's the same meaning, it's the same concept, but this time we don't have a noun here, we have an activity, an action, and we put the action in the infinitive form of the verb. And the infinitive form of a verb is the word to followed by the base form of the verb. Example: I can afford to go to London every weekend. So I can afford followed by the infinitive, to go. So the action here is go, and so we put it in the infinitive form. The action that we have enough money for is here. I can afford to go. Another example: rich people can afford to travel in private jets. Can afford to travel. So here is the infinitive, to travel. So this is the activity that rich people have enough money for. Okay? So can afford plus a verb in the infinitive. Very common. Affordable. Affordable. So what is this? Well, it's the same, it's a derived word from afford. So affordable is the adjective. So it is the adjective that is derived from the verb afford. So an adjective describes a noun. So affordable describes something that we have enough money to buy. Because an adjective, it modifies a noun or a thing. So affordable describes the noun or the thing or the action, the activity that we have enough money to buy. Example: this computer is affordable. Okay, so this simply means that that we have enough money to buy this computer if we wanted. And as we have already seen, we can also say, I can afford this computer. Or, I can afford to buy this computer. So here we see the structure using an adjective. So the adjective is describing the noun computer. And here we have can afford followed by a noun, computer. And here we have can afford followed by the infinitive. So here we see all three uses or all three structures, three different ways of saying the same thing, because the meaning is the same here. Okay? Exercise. 2 questions for you. Question 1. What can you afford to do next weekend? So this is the affirmative. And question 2, what can't you afford to do next weekend? So this is the negative. Okay, so those are 2 questions I would like you to answer. So write your answers in the comments below this video. Okay, there we are. That's the end. And here are some other videos which you might be interested in.